So let us close your eyes and see how you can change your mind by Mangala Charan. Mangala Charan, we are entering into the auspicious space which is already present in us. Om Sahana Vavatu. So, as I told you, during the day also couple of times, you should repeat and then you should find the meaning and contemplate. May we both be protected. From what? Protected from delusion, from ego-driven thought. So when I say, as I say, you become aware that you are free now. What is that freedom? You are protected. Protecting the projections. May we both enjoy together. Sahana bhavatu, sahana bhunaktu, sahana bhunaktu. A genuine enthusiasm. What it means, I'm little more aware. I am keeping aside all my thoughts. Here and now. We don't need any practice. We need just an awareness. May we work together with great energy. Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karvavahi, Sahaviryam Karvavahi. So means great energy. Great energy means that I'm aware and alert. Alert of what? Is my mind going to listen the same impulsive, habitual, automatic, ego-driven way, or my mind is open to absorb the teaching of these great masters? May our study be enlightening. Sahaviryam karvavahe ejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. May our study, our understanding be enlightening. What is enlightening? Oh, my mind is thinking about someone who reacted to me, and still those thoughts are coming to my mind. Now I pass my energy, awareness, and attention to this thought. Oh, it's not required. May we not have a jealousy or envy against each other. Means what? No drama, no grudges. Who does the drama and grudges? Ego, harmony, and the mutual respect. So now you see that this Shanti mantra has 4 or 5 points. May we both be protected. So here is the protection from the delusion, from the projection. We enjoy together what it means, receiving and giving. Both are synchronized. May we work together with great energy. So I give more energy, more awareness and alertness when it is possible. It is only possible when we have an open mind. What is the open mind? We have a humility. What is the meaning of the humility? That now I have what I have been doing by my intellect, by my ego driven mind is not helping me to find a permanent happiness. So let me follow this principle. And why? So that our study, our knowledge of giving and receiving be enlightened. without being envy and jealous. That will help us to move into the higher state of awareness without any practice. It's about knowledge. You have a GPS in front of you. Oh, put my address. So you put my address. Let me put my address. So that is a movement of the humility, means the mind is open and it follows the principles in the first instant. In the second instant, then you retrieve that information and you contemplate and reflect. You sit down and then you say, yes, I will ask 50 questions to become clear. So what happens when it becomes clear? The knowledge settles in the intellect, and then what happens if the knowledge settles in the intellect? It pushes the mind. Don't move by the ego-driven action. Don't bring in the impulsive nature. Don't be the mechanical thought process should continue. So simple way to understand. And open your eyes. So now with that humility and open, it took me many years to reach to that state. And I told you once that I used to interrupt. I said, I know, Master, I know, this is what it is. So after 2 years, my master waited patiently and he told me, I teach you that thing which is not written, which cannot be written in these texts. You learn the principles intellectually, but to allow that knowledge to descend down into your heart, that means the mind, I should be open. Openness means that I simply follow it. Why I follow it? In order to experience. Why I want an experience? Experience will bring me the conviction. So what will happen with the conviction? You see the mathematical way. So what will happen to the conviction? I have a conviction that ego-driven thought will take me to realization. Now I have a conviction this knowledge will take me to the realization. So there is a big difference between the ignorance and the wisdom. Everyone listens to these, they study these texts. But what is the big difference? That now the intellect has a conviction. But why it has a conviction? We discussed last time, I think the last 2 sessions. We raise a doubt what my mind claims is the right thinking, it is a deluded thinking. I had a doubt, and with that doubt I recognize the mistake. Now there is a humility and there is an openness. With that is what the satsang is. Satsang is not teaching all these principles. You can read it, you can study it, you are already intelligent. Everyone is intelligent, anyone can study. Google out. These 8 principles. So that is why we say satsang, the mind. The master brings the mind of the seeker again and again to that real present inside the principle. That is required. So now see that first 8 steps. First step, study Vedas daily. Study Eastern wisdom daily. Let us find out what, why, where, when. What is this? What, why? How it just came to my mind. Studies Eastern wisdom daily. What it tells? It tells me about my real nature. Ego-driven action tells me about my false nature. I should be aware. So the mind says no. I will raise 200% doubt. Yes, you have a time to raise the doubt, but first understand the principle. So, what is the study Eastern wisdom? Why? To find the real self. Then, what is the conclusion? Study Eastern wisdom to study your real self. Why to study real self? So, when I know that this is my nature, I will not support what is not my nature. Anxiety my nature? No. Why it is no, not my nature. I had an anxiety yesterday, today I am calm, tomorrow I have. So, whatever is changing is not my nature. Logical. You have to put the logic. So, first you understand the principle, study Eastern wisdom to study myself. Now I have to study myself. Now follow what, why, how. But what happens? I study Eastern wisdom, my mind jumps. my mind jumps to the binding desire, projection, impulses, thought, and then my mind gets engaged in the thought. I was talking just now in the group session before. One of my great friends who died at the age of 82, he also immigrated to Texas. He was the guy who taught me how to do the scientific research. So then I retrieved all my past memories, and he used to teach me this is how to set the protocol, variable and invariable factors, and then you observe the facts by the experiment, and after then you have to apply the statistics, and then you have to reach whether it's a statistical significant or not. So I understood that. It took me almost 2 years. I should have studied the text, but it will not work. So anyhow, that is the first part. So I'm grateful, I think, mine. I was grateful to him. I paid condolences to his wife. That is one. Now see how the mind runs after the project and how the projection and how the satsang helps. Oh, he died at 82. I'm only 67. The mind created a delusion. So, yeah, 82 is long. Mind, why you have created such a projection? Unnecessary. Because I instantly recognized it. It is gone. Then how the satsang help? Satsang, in the satsang I heard, what is changing is impermanent, and I'm not impermanent. Body is changing, I'm not impermanent. So why you are thinking that at least many years are left until you become 82? It creates a projection. It creates a dream. It creates an imagination for anything and everything. No, but you have reached to that state. Will these delusion will not? It should not happen into your mind. Wrong. But it is too far. Yes. Nature of the mind to live in the delusion. But why to live in the delusion? That is empirical reality. Where is empirical reality? I am coaching you. It is an empirical reality. I and you are not two. So it is required to pass on the knowledge. No little deeper. Delusion will always be there where there is a real self. The false I will always be there. A physics teacher teaches you mirage water is delusion. You have understood it. The next day again you are Driving in a desert, you see the mirror as water. But now there is a difference. Internally, your perception is clear. You have a conviction the water is not there. You have a conviction the blueness of the sky is not there. You have a conviction the earth is moving. Still, I see the earth is stationary. My floor is always seen stationary. But in between that falls in the real, they get messed up, they get mixed up, they appear as if they are mixed up. How can you say the earth is moving? Earth is stationary wherever I go. But when I drive, I feel the earth is moving. I feel the highway is moving behind me. So it means where the problem is, I have to get rid of that mind which believed and which has a conviction on these deluded thoughts, feeling, emotions, and experiences. They are the impurities of the mind. That is why I have to do the karma yoga. What do you want to say?
So our sense organ is not perfect because this the association in the mind also not perfect and always wrong.
You have to doubt. Why we don't doubt means I claim my deluded thought, feeling, and perception is right. So when you doubt, you are breaking the impure mind and its sets of values. Say, for example, you reacted to your honey or your honey reacted to you. They take that example. Now, if your mind recognizes it is a deluded event, it is a deluded thought, you are not angry, you are not upset. But if it is deluded thought is right, you will definitely react. So it means by satsang, I have purified the mind. I instantly become aware, honey, you are right to be angry and upset over me. You are 100% right. I am crazy. No. I am more crazy than you think. I will set it right. First, I check my state of the mind. I say, okay, I have to apply this in my daily life. If I don't apply this in daily life, and then I think, spiritual consciousness lies at some corner in my room when I sit into meditation, then why the spiritual consciousness is all pervading? What is the fun? Why should we understand that? It is everywhere. So it is everywhere. It is here and with the honey also. That is the meaning J. Krishnamurti says choiceless awareness. He did not say that sit in your room, put all the blackout curtain until the darkness is there, then close your eyes. When you close your eyes, there is already a darkness. Why you want to practice meditation in a dark room? I have to raise doubt on my pre-existing opinion, belief, projection. If I don't raise the doubt, I'm using the same mind to meditate, it will not happen. But I was talking about the second step was perform duties according to the teaching, according to the principles. So duty means my personal duty. Duty means action. Action means thought, speech, and physical action. So it means I have to change my thought also, yes. How to change that thought? By perception. First action. So that thought says I have to perform the duty. So whether if I perform the duty, I will be happy. If I don't perform the duty, I will be unhappy. So I have to discover what is my duty. Niyat and Nitya Karma. We'll talk in detail about it. So why it happens? Because if I perform the duty, if I don't perform the duty, nobody notices, but I will be punished. Why I will be punished? Because my ego-driven action. I cannot live without action in my life. No one. So when no one can live without action, means I have to perform an action. So I have to think, speak, and act. Very good. Say, pay attention. So I have to perform, thought, speech, and action. So I have only to change how to, with what attitude I have to think, speak, and act. Karma yoga is 90% intellectual. Honey, same example, the honey reacted. Now I think, I speak and act with awareness. Ego-driven action, no. Wisdom-driven action, yes, it becomes the duty. I recognized that outer world cannot influence my mind. That is duty. So you see many layers of understanding. Simply saying karma yoga, it will not work. We have to go little deeper and deeper. Okay. It is the thought, it is the speech, it is the action. That is what my master said, that you will not be able to learn what the teacher tells you. It is not written in the text about the principles. Why? The teacher personalizes this teaching based on his experience, his recognition, his realization. Come to the third one, surrender all actions to Ishvara. So what is the message? You can draw hundreds of messages. So if I perform my duty, there the time comes when I clearly recognize that I am not the doer and the enjoyer. So when I recognize that I am not the doer and the enjoyer, then who is the doer and enjoyer? Ishvara, the innermost self. Innermost self transcends the body, mind, intellect, breath, and ego, and all the thought process. So the ego keeps on changing, the I keeps on changing. So I recognize this I maker is not the doer and the enjoyer. So what happens? It is the I maker that has a strong likes and dislikes, reaction, anxiety, anger, duality, conflict. That brings us to the fourth step. That I have to drop desire prompted action. Binding desire prompted action. Now you see there is a contradiction, lot of contradiction. Science says without desire you cannot have motivation and you cannot act. Do you mean that we should not have a desire? Eastern wisdom says, no, you are wrong. So what is your say? We say binding desire. There is a difference between a normal desire and a binding desire. If you have an urge to go to the washroom, you go to the washroom and you return back. Do you still have a thought of going to the washroom, returning and sitting? No. I don't have that impression. So if any desire which do not continue to keep its impression in the mind for repetition or escaping in the future, you should have a desire. Binding desire, it binds you. You repeat it again and again. Your honey says you are crazy, and the stranger says you are crazy. There is a big difference between the two. Avoid this guy, he doesn't know who I am. My honey, how dare you say? So it is because the two people have changed, that is why my mind reacted in one incident and my mind avoided in other? Or it is because of my mind? It is because of the binding desire? It is because of the likes and dislikes? Think. So there we have to think with an open mind. No. We are not saying, his teaching is not saying, Eastern wisdom is not saying that I should not have. If I don't have a desire, it means I don't have a thought. If I don't have a thought, can you really work without a thought? Tomorrow when you wake up in the morning, don't think and work. You cannot even go to the restroom. It may be a subconscious thought, non-verbal awareness, but that is also a thought. We are not saying. So surrender all the actions to the Ishvara, and after that, whatever is left with the desire prompted action, I have to get rid of it. Desire prompted action. But what is the relationship between the third one, surrender all actions to the Ishvara, and renounce desire prompted action? I am doing it for Shiva. I am teaching for Shiva. I am speaking for Shiva. I am sitting for Shiva. I woke up for the Shiva. Why? Desire prompted action will originate from the ego. I don't accept the ego. See the relationship. So in the fifth step, we simply say purify the mind. So we have already started the purification. Some level of purification will happen in the first level by listening and learning by satsang. The other levels of purification will take place by action. So we change the attitude of performing an action. So our thought process, our speech, our action changes, and we start recognizing that I'm more calmer and peaceful. I'm more relaxed. So more relaxed because we cannot change the world outside. And the world outside, then we start analyzing the defects in the world outside because of sensory pleasures. So I recognize. So I gave the second example in the same previous session. So I saw the picture of a princess. In India, the country was made up of by merging more than 500 kingdoms. India is a huge country. So there are 500 kingdoms. So Many kings continued to have their wealth. The Indian government did not take their wealth. So one of the princes, perhaps of the Gujarat, who had about 500 acres of land, she still has a huge mansion which sprawls in about 50 acres of the land, 200 rooms. So now come back to the main thing. So I saw she's beautiful, but I also saw the two commandos protecting her, and I had a big smile. When the death will come, even the commandos cannot protect you. But we continue to carry that impression that I will be protected if I have wealth, if I will be protected if I have commandos. I will not feel loneliness when I get married, but even after marriage I feel lonely. So I have to get rid of these defects living my personal, professional, social, family life. So now see these 6 steps. You look at these 6 steps, analyze the 6 steps. What is the first step? First step, study Eastern wisdom to know the real self and the false side separately, discernment. I'm upset because of you, but you should not be upset because of me. Why? Real self cannot be made upset. Because if the real self is made upset, then it is also a changing entity, and what is changing entity cannot bring me the permanent happiness. So you have 10% of the thoughts are gone. Now you perform your karma yoga. Another 10% is gone. Then now you don't use the tag that I am the doer and the enjoyer. Another 10% of the thoughts, unwanted, unnecessary thoughts have gone. See that? Then desire prompted action, you are aware, no more desire prompted action. The more and more you do, another 10% of the unwanted thoughts have gone. Then you purify the mind. Now you are fully conscious. You reflect on the defects of the sense, defects in the worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasure. Majority of the thoughts. I gave an example of this young guy. At least thanks God. So he left. He said, now, after I met 3 cute and beautiful girls, I'm not searching the 4th one. I said, thank God. You see that? So he said, this, now I'm analyzing. So he writes an email every day to me. In the first case, I was driven by this pleasure. In the second case, she told me this thing, so I forgot it is a delusion. I said, you are on the right path now. You are not going against any girl. You are hitting your mind. You are doing good. Yesterday he had a session. I said, how you are doing? I said, the whole week was passed very peacefully. Why? Because I did not have those deluded thoughts. I raised doubt over it. I hammered it, and I found I am at peace. So when 80% of all those thoughts are gone, then what happens? You have an intense desire to know the real self. That is our 7th step. And then what is the 8th step? Renounce home. Symbolically, metaphorically, there are 2 parts of it. So if you take it really, leave the home, go to the Himalayas. Means you have nothing to do in the material world outside. You have more than enough to continue your life. So your intense desire motivates you to leave, go to the monastery, find a teacher, you spend the whole time in contemplation, reflection, duality. You have become a monk. You take the outer initiation. You have a inner. You have the orange-colored clothes. So you see that when you have an orange-colored cloth, nobody will come to you to talk about the sex and pleasure and gossip. So that is an outer covering that protects you. But internally, you practice meditation for 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours of studying the text, 2 hours of learning from the teacher, and then 2 hours of meditation again. So like this, you have 15, 16 hours of the waking state spent on. Now, this kind of a life has also two aspects. If you did not develop intense desire for the real self, you will become a hypocrite. But a hypocrite also does not mean, it has many categorizations. Hypocrite does not mean, so one guy who recently died at the age of 99, I don't want to name him, I met him when he was 70, and after constant inquiry, but I surrendered to him completely. Then he said, you see that, I came here with that such an intense desire. Then I became the head of this monastery. This monastery is a huge monastery in Haridwar, which has 1,000 rooms. And then I got engaged in managing that monastery, and I forget my intense desire for the real self is gone. And then I became a CEO of the monastery, and I started running the business. I recognized my mistake. At least he recognized the mistake. Others people who do not, their intense desire melts down, they start manipulating. And the third category, they leave. Oh, no monastery. Monastery cannot. Monastery is another home. I have left the home. Why should I manage this? So the third category reaches to that state, the highest state. So that is one meaning of leaving the home. Second meaning of leaving the home, you have left the home of a deluded mind, and you continue to live. You continue your personal, professional, social, and family life and obligations, but internally you are growing. You are reaching, you are rising in awareness. That is another way. Which one is better? Depends on you. It does not depend on objectivity. Find out where you stand for. Do I have lot of thoughts for my business and profession and family? Live in the family. Finished. Don't think of that I should become a monk. Buddha had such an intense desire, only one thing, that I will find the real self. He got initiated by a Hatha Yoga Tantra monk. First 6 years he spent there. Only one time food, you are a prince? Yes, master. Everything agreed on. You have to sleep on the floor. Do you? Yes, master. You have to practice this mantra for 3 hours. Do you? Yes. You will be given only food one time. Yes. Agreed. Possible. But even then, his mind was not pure. He did not follow the first 6 steps. It took him 6 years. Vivekananda went there, 5 or 6 meetings. Ramakrishna asked that where my Vivekananda is, let us go there. Under a tree, he was totally absorbed into meditation. You see, Ramakrishna said, you see, that is why I'm comparing you with this guy. He's a born monk. He was hardly 16 years. He returned. He said, you did not come to listen to me. I have already heard your talk in the first hour. You told me to get absorbed. So I went there under a tree and I was absorbed. I'm sorry, Master. Third category. I'm not comparing Buddha with the Vivekananda, but it depends on the past impression. It depends on your past impression plus your intensity. So, intensity of finding the real self in Buddha and the Vivekananda both were same. But how can you get rid of the past impression in the prarabdha, which took 6 years for the Buddha to remove it? And as such, there is a good prarabdha in the Vivekananda, so he got absorbed into meditation in the in hardly 5 or 6 meetings, and he reached to the higher state. Why I'm talking about it, so that when we find my mind is running after one short of the pleasure again and again, we should not lose our heart and the mind. We should not be frustrated, but we should continue with our will. That is what the Buddha did. That is what the Buddha did. So I have to feed my intellect again and again. These 8 steps, where the mind is going in a deluded thought process, I have to get rid of it. And then I have to check my duty. So I act with reference to the Shiva, third step. You simply say, I wake up in the morning. Okay, so I will meditate for Shiva. I will go to the office for Shiva. So even by saying that will help. You see the doubt. Who created the doubt? The ego. And now tell me why it created the doubt. Why the ego created the doubt. And my simple answer, when you are anxiety, when you are reacting, when you are angry and upset, you prove that my anger is for the genuine reason. Can you have an anxiety getting upset without a thought? No. So that is what we are doing. Let me offer it to the divine. Let me offer to the Shiva. It is not working now, it will work. Let me wait. Without thought, I cannot experience anything. So why I rely more on my anxiety, duality and a conflict? It also comes with an expression of the thought. So why shouldn't I have an expression that let me Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu? Why shouldn't I have it? So during the day I don't do it. During the day my mind is driven by the ego. Now I have a fear, I have an anxiety. Fear, anxiety given to Shiva. I am in peace. Can't I say that? Think. So our action, so we act with a purpose. Whatever the action going to the Shiva, I'm doing it for the Shiva. So first 3 steps are done. In the 4th step, I'm breaking that power of delusion created by the mind over the years by thinking. Break the craving cycle. I break the craving cycle. What that means in a modern life, I clear my mental clutter. Mind why you are thinking repeated. You have a repeat desire. That's a binding desire. Why you are doing this? You already had a pleasure. Now the pleasure is gone and you are still thinking about it. Why you are thinking? It is an incomplete thinking. That is what. But why it is an incomplete thinking? Because pleasure is impermanent. So again you will have a pleasure. Again you will think better to break the cycle. I'm simply saying you think in your mind. So when you think, you are removing the mental clutter. You are purifying the mind. So the proportion of your mind thinking about the real self, of the joy, peace and happiness within you will be much higher in ratio. So that is the sign of the progress. You recognize, okay, now I recognize. Now I recognize. Knowledge has a conviction in the intellect, and the conviction in the intellect is helping me, my mind, to get rid of the ego-driven action, to reach to the eighth step. Where is the eighth step? I have explained you symbolically. Leave your home physically or leave your home mentally and emotionally. You return home from the office and the mind is not pushing you to reaction to the seeking the pleasure from anything in the world, from the kitchen or from the honey. You recognize mind is clear. Then you recognize the real thirst. Let me grab a glass of water. Oh, honey, can you give me some food? She serves you the food and you are aware. You are aware. You have a mindful eating. I did not get the food of my choice. Even then I will eat it because I feel hungry. So you are breaking the rule of likes and dislikes. You are using every opportunity to move to the eighth step. What is the eighth step? Leave your home. But I already gave you the two meaning. Leave your home. You're not going to the monastery. Leave the home of that ego. Likes and dislikes, the desire, binding desire, seeking the pleasure again and again. While doing every work in your family, so what happens? 80% is already mind is purified. Then your mind continues to think, what about the real self? What about the real self? What about the real self? You have an inner quest. You have a desire for self-realization. You have unloaded your attachment. You have unloaded your duality and a conflict. Why duality and a conflict? Because of the likes and dislikes. So now you have enough time to feed your brain with what? With what you have learned over the years. I can bet you the mind is pure 80%. You will be able to remember what you have learned in the last 5-6 years. They will return to your mind. There is already a memory because I'm not giving an opportunity to the mind to open to that memory. So that's why it's not opening up. Satsang is very subtle. See, I did not give opportunity to my mind when my friend died at the age of 81. My mind did not think, oh, my dad died at the age of 60. My mom died when she was only 45. Ah, it's a very painful memory I have. No, I didn't have this. Why should I think of it? Why? Do I not have respect and gratitude for my parents? Yes, I have it. So if I remember and get upset, that is the way to be grateful? So when your mind now has left the home of that one compartment of the mind, I think I discussed about it. Mind is like a mansion. On the right side, you have lot of rooms of all the ego-driven desires, actions, and here is the path of the Shreyas. You have many rooms. So now you open to the room of the Shreyas. I can bet you, I can promise you that your mind will awaken to all the memories of what you have learned and all those principles which you have learned in these 5 years. This is covering, and this one, this desire, home of attachment and delusion in the ego is covering. If I don't remove it, if I don't uncover it, it will not work. It will not work. So now look from the very practical, pragmatic point of view. So what should I be doing every day? Obviously, I should be doing every day the practice of meditation, and then I should also be listening and learning. After listening and learning, I should contemplate and reflect. I will ask only one question to my mind: why it matters, what I have heard. Why it matters, how it matters. So I recognize that my reaction is not required. Reaction comes from my expectations which remains unfulfilled from a person. But can I remove the expectation and still communicate with that person? Yes, let me try. You'll feel the immense happiness and the joy. Why? You have all your expectations are gone from your mind. You are communicating in freedom. That is your second step. First and the second step. Do you see that? Can I see it clearly? When I see it clearly, there is a conviction. When I have a conviction, the mind will follow it. When I don't have a conviction in the intellect, mind will say, follow me what I say. He or she insulted you, you have to give a befitting reply. You have to fight. So the deluded mind does not think that after the fight I will be more depressed. So what is lacking? Wisdom. How the wisdom comes? By discernment. See how they are related. So Master says it is karma yoga. Checkbox. Am I just checking off boxes, or am I truly engaged in my daily life actions? What is my attitude in every action? I recognize it and then I perform it. You are emptying your mind. Act with a purpose. You act with a purpose. What is the main purpose? I recognize that I am not the doer in gender. Shiva is the doer. Do I not recognize now? No, yes, no, I don't recognize now. But one thing I recognize, that I is a false I. I'm teaching. Okay, you are teaching. Is your mind teaching, or your larynx and the voice box and the lips, they are working, or you are working, or they are working? So I is not there. So hold that thought in your mind, the I is not there, and still my mind says I is there. Hence I say, let it be done for Shiva. Do it once, two, try. Every action. Why it matters. Why it matters. It is going to dissolve that I-ness. Today's lesson, we are 99% you have to apply that knowledge. You have to live into that awareness. So what happens when you start doing it, you recognize there is a vicious circle, you are breaking it. What is that vicious circle you are breaking it? What is the circle of likes, dislikes, binding, desire, pleasure, and the pain? It's like a hamster wheel. Have you seen that wheel? You put the cat in between, and the cat keeps on repeating. It does not know the beginning and the end point. That is what we are caught in. So I have to recognize I'm caught in the hamster wheel. You're going to hamster wheel? No, I'm not going there. That is the meaning of conviction. You reacted, I will also react. Hamster wheel. It took 6 years for Buddha to learn it. It took only 5 days for Vivekananda to learn it. No one is greater and higher. Prarabdha. But in the presence of the prarabdha, I have to continue to make my effort to become a higher seeker. Why? Vivekananda said you can even dissolve prarabdha by your one-pointed, 100% focused karma yoga. So now you break that cycle of the hamster wheel. Mind feels the uncluttered now. That is with the purification of the mind. Then now you rethink of the happiness. Oh, now I can see that happiness is deep inside, not outside. It fuels your burning desire for the real self. You leave home. I've already explained you that you leave home. Metaphorically. Practically and metaphorically, yes. So you should not ask me. You will, let us have a session. So you join the session. From where you have joined the session? Oh, I'm just, left my home and I'm free. I'm living alone in a small shelter, and that is why I'm connected to you. You are already free. You are ready to find the real self. Option is there, but in that option, not everyone is like Buddha, who continued to stick for 6 years under a master when another master found that now he has become a seeker. It will only require few minutes sitting under a tree and entering into the mindfulness. His mind is already pure. Which, in case of Vivekananda, Ramakrishna did not. No, he is already enlightened. Ramakrishna said he is a born monk. Exceptions, we cannot generalize the exceptions. Raman Maharshi did not know anything about the Eastern wisdom, Vedanta, yoga, meditation at all. He simply heard that body dies. So if the body dies, will I die? So he was used to be absorbed into meditation, his older brothers saw him that he has stopped to even working. He said, if you want to live that like of a life, go to the Arunachal. Arunachal was the place in southern India for it was known as the spiritual place. So the society knows. So better you go there and spend. Leave everything. You need not to work. He started thinking that I have little money. He had. He bought a ticket. He boarded a train. He reached there. He had few Indian rupees left in coins. He saw the river. He threw all those coins into the river. He was totally free. He said, if I seek God, that means the God takes care of me. That is a very famous statement. If I continue to have an intense desire for the God or the real self, the nature and the existence takes care of me. With that understanding, he threw everything. Oh, God will take care of me. He became one of the great masters. He also died in 1950. He is known as a god in French, in France. I would say millions of people treat him as a god. Prarabdha. So that knowledge is already present. I'm just saying you that knowledge is already present in him. So when he got awakened and people started flocking to him, he became very famous. And then one great poet of his time, who was well versed with the text of the Eastern wisdom, he approached. He knew the native language. He said, Master, if you could write a book telling us the path, the steps of the path to find the real self. Raman Maharshi agreed. But the problem is that he knew the native language, he does not know the Sanskrit. So this poet translated the Sanskrit verses into the native language and then he gave it to this Maharshi Raman. Then he wrote the text in Tamil and the poet translated that into a Sanskrit text which is available now. Knowledge was already present in everyone. Vivekananda could not find that knowledge to be removed. It took him a couple of years. Maharshi Raman did not study anything. First he got enlightenment and then he was exposed to this text of Eastern wisdom. And no doubt, Buddha was already exposed to the different traditions. On that basis, he analyzed and he wrote the Eightfold Path. You see the prarabdha working in each category. So we should not feel defeated by the prarabdha. We have to continue our journey as a seeker.